Betty, it's an annual ritual at Goldman Sachs. Every year, the firm targets the bottom 5% of its workforce. Ideally, these people quit before they can get fired. You know, bad review on the one hand, no bonus, for example, on the other. But if the message doesn't get through, Goldman will, shall we say, arrange for your involuntary departure. Those notices,
like
I should add,
yes,
start going out today. Now, most of the cuts happen by the end of March, and you can see in a chart that we put together that employment at Goldman has dropped in the first quarter in 3 of the past 4 years. And if Goldman goes ahead and cuts 5% this quarter, some 1,600 people will be gone.
Does this work?
Well, it's an excellent question. It's called performance management, Betty. Consultants are absolutely in love with the practice. The folks at BCG, for example, the folks at McKinsey. You eliminate the bottom 5 or 10% of employees, and in theory, you replace them with better or perhaps cheaper people. You may be aware Jack Welch was in love with the practice. He called it the vitality curve. 20% at the bottom, 70% in the middle. I'm sorry, 20% at the top, 70 in the middle, 10% at the bottom, and he institutionalized it at GE. Elsewhere, it has different names: forced ranking, rank and yank, culling the herd, trimming the fat, however you want to describe it. Goldman Sachs doesn't have an official name for it.
Okay, interesting. So this is certainly not unique to Goldman
No,
Sachs.
hundreds of companies use forced ranking. Yahoo, for example, Dow Chemical, Microsoft, Ford, just to name a few. Goldman, though, is different for a couple of reasons, and they're worth talking about. On the one hand, the 360-degree review, this uncommonly rigorous performance evaluation process. For the most part, it helps Goldman identify the best people and promote them, but it also comes in handy on the other side of the vitality curve. And secondly, cost cutting. It is happening on Wall Street. Goldman is very focused on it. So while the firm may rehire in all of these 1,600 positions, they won't necessarily be in New York, in London, in Tokyo, or Hong Kong. They could just as easily be in Bangalore, Singapore, or Salt Lake City. About half of all Goldman's new hires last year were in those cheaper centers.
Interesting.